Hey there, Internet. It's me, Broken Terrain, and I was crafting some columns to put in my Etsy store. I thought I'd film it and show you how I made them. Let's get to it right after the drop. I'm really excited about this one. Columns are a fantastic addition to any terrain builder, any war gamer, any traveling DM or DM hosts toolkit. They immediately add line of sight and strategic value to just about any single combat you lay down on the tabletop. They are the prime example or difference as to why those who like a more strategic combat and placement and movement over the theater of the mind folks. They tell you definitively whether you're hiding behind something or not, whether it's harder to hit you from a distance, whether you can be seen when you're sneaking about. Columns are incredibly important, and I think these 2-inch by 2-inch, 6 and 8-inch tall columns are a fantastic addition, and I can't wait to share them with you. So, to begin, I have an abundance of 2-inch thick XPS foam right now, so that's what I decided to use, and I'm so glad I did. I love the presence of these big, chunky columns on the tabletop. They look fantastic. I'm going to cut 5-inch and 7-inch lengths of this 2 by 2-inch, and that's because I'm going to do 1/2-inch caps at 2.5 by 2.5 inch. This is going to give me a 1/4 inch overlap around each edge. And then it's basic stuff, right? You're going to break the edges with your X-Acto so that it looks like carved stone. You're going to measure out your brickwork. These are nice and big and chunky, so I'm going 1/2-inch thick bricks. They're going to be 1 inch wide, so that means measure 1 inch or the center of each side of the column and then every other row, and then just make sure you're following that as you rotate from edge to edge so that your brickwork lines up and looks like individual bricks. And once you've measured it all out, make sure you go over it with an X-Acto, cut those lines, then go back over it with a pen. Really score those lines deep. It's really going to sell that you're going with individual bricks. And at this point, this is where I recommend rolling that aluminum foil over for texture. After you put your lines in and your brickwork in, the aluminum foil is going to push down on edges and things and adjust certain parts and points of the brick. It's really going to sell the idea that these are individual bricks, or at some point some ancient stonemason put these columns together. And then just to rough my columns up a little bit, give them a little bit of character, I'm going to go around and I'm going to cut certain stones just a little bit short. Just to add a little depth, a little character to the columns. I do about 2 per side on the smaller ones, and I've got the larger, the 7-inch that become 8-inch columns. I do 3 on those, like 1 at a top, 1 at a bottom, maybe 1 floating around in the middle. Try to make it look random, although as I just explained, it's far from random. You're picking and choosing and placing these just to try and spread them out. Try to break the plane of every single edge, right? If you can sink every single edge at least at a single point, you're going to create this a bit more of a realistic look. You don't want these to look too perfect. We're kind of going for something modular. That's usually I'm a modular fella. I don't like the idea of making a piece for one thing, one set piece for one reason. So when I make a column like this, I'm going to make it so that it could be new, it could be old, it could be in a current castle, it could be in a temple, or it could be deep in a ruin that hasn't been seen by mortal eyes in thousands of years. I really like the modularity of it, so I continue to cut a little brick here, a little brick there, and make these very rough and jaggedy looking, but not too much. Then to weight them down, and this way I hide my weights, I'm going to get some screws. I believe these are 1¼ inch, and I'm just going to screw a number of them into the bottom, and that's going to add a little weight to the column and help it from tipping over. This is really helpful when everybody's sticking their hands down and moving their minis. If you don't do this, the column's very tipsy and top heavy, and it's a pain in the butt to pick these columns up every time someone puts their hands down on the table. So with a little weight, and these screws do a good job. I think for these smaller ones I went with 5 screws. For the bigger ones, the taller ones, I go with 9 screws, and they do a great job of really keeping those columns weighted down. Here's a little show off with some minis we got from Game Workshop's August free minis. I love it. I love getting free minis. What's better than getting minis? Getting minis for free. I had my wife and a daughter with me, and they handed over their free minis to me as well. So that's why I got 3 of them. All right, now that our columns are made, the tops and bottoms are hot glued on, we're going to cover it with that Black Magic Craft black matte paint, matte Mod Podge mixed together. This is going to strengthen the foam and give us a nice solid base coat all at the same time. And then it's time to paint it with some color. I love Gray Storm. I'm going to go in and paint the whole middle of these columns with this wonderful Gray Storm. I love this color. Back to Apple Barrel's Khaki. This is a color I turn to often when I like a two-tone brick look. I've used it on several different rooms and wall pieces already, and I thought, why not hit these columns with it as well? So the caps, the tops and bottoms, are going to get done with Apple Barrel's Khaki. All right, now you know how I like to do. I like to paint individual bricks in different colors to add a little depth, a little character to my pieces. So I'm bringing a new gray cobblestone I've never used before. I'm hitting up some milk chocolate, and I'm going to get some dark umber in here. I'm just going to go through and I'm going to pick some bricks and paint them. And once again, just like trimming the edges, I'm going to attempt to make it look random by not doing it randomly at all. Please pay attention to what bricks you're painting which color. I tried to make it so that as you rotated the column, you got a flash of every single color on every single side. Some sides are going to get more color than others, but I did want to try to represent every brick color on every side. So you see the burnt umber being painted. Now I'm turning to is that milk chocolate? Yes, it is. Delicious. What a great color milk chocolate is. Here's this cobblestone. Boy, it ended up being a whole lot lighter than what I thought it might be, but I still like it. And now I've got another color that I can think about when painting gray stone, because as you know, us terrain makers are always doing gray stone. So much gray stone. And finally, 3 colors wasn't enough. Give me some of that sweet, sweet honey brown. I decided to go for a 4th color for my brick, and once again, a couple of bricks here and there with that honey brown. Always a great color. I love utilizing it in my brick and stonework. Here you can see a shot of all the columns with all the colors laid down. They look a little silly maybe right now, but I promise you I'm going to do a few things to mute all the colors together and then bring all the colors together. First, we're going to hit them with a wash. This is my homemade wash. I couldn't tell you how it's made. I honestly don't remember, and I don't know how it keeps looking so good, but hey, I'm just going to keep using it until it runs out. We're going to brush it down all these sides. This black ink watery mixture here with a touch of soap and something else, some flow assist. It's going to get into all the nooks and crannies. It's going to settle in the recesses of all this foam and texture that we've done. Just brush it over everything, and it's going to dull and mute all these stone colors and just make everything look a bit more together. And then now we're going to go in with our light buttercream, or buttermilk, my apologies. and then we're gonna do a nice dry brush. So load the brush up, pull most of it off with a paper towel, and then we're going to go in and we're going to hit all the edges and texture with our light buttermilk. And this is the final step, right? We dull all those colors down with the shade or the wash. Now we're going to pull all those colors together with a nice highlight. They're all getting this granite or the light buttermilk dry brush. It's going to bring all these colors together and really make it look like these ancient columns made from all kinds of different really cool stone and stone types. So here you are, a little setup, and really take these columns away. It's just a demon caster at an altar facing off with some undead minions, but you add these columns together and there's a much more weight to the situation. And on top of that, now our characters have a place to duck behind, to dodge spells, to dodge arrows from skeleton archers and things. Everything can become way more strategic. I love these things. I love these columns. And if you don't have columns, consider making something like this. It will really help. It is like the perfect example of why you'd prefer a tabletop setup over something like Theater of the Mind, because columns alone add this incredible strategic value to your combats and what's going on the table. Anyway, that's all for me today. Thank you so much. If you like this video, smash that like button. I'd really appreciate it. I'm doing all kinds of stuff all the time with tabletop and role-playing, so hit subscribe to see more content like this. I've got a bunch of links below in the description, an Amazon affiliate. I've got a Subscribe Star where you can get my pen and paper game. Download it, play it. You'll love it. I know you will. Yeah, check me out. Help me out, help the channel, share it with friends and family. I'd appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. As always, like each other, love each other, and craft on.